Welcome to the Sarah HQ podcast. It's Sarah Ize-Iyamu here, and I'm super excited to be recording this episode. So this episode is going to be super, super special. I have an amazing guest with me here, Mr. Arsalan Minhas. He we're going to be talking about how to adapt your sales in a post-COVID-19 world. So with everything happening with the whole lockdown and everything, this isn't a permanent phase. There is a post-COVID-19 phase, and you need to prepare your business towards then. So thank you so much, Mr. Arsalan, for joining. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you, Sarah, for inviting. All good. We're just having, I would say, a lot of rain in Munich, but all good.
Oh, it's raining there. Here it's like...
It was very sunny during the day, but since the last couple of hours, it's really raining like cats and dogs.
Oh, wow. Wow. But I love cool weather, by the way. Here it's hot. It's hot here in Texas. Yeah. So, Mr. Arsalan, tell us a little bit about your origin story. How did you start your business, your career? How did you get into your business?
All right. So first of all, thank you very much again for inviting. My name is, you have already mentioned, Arsalan Minhas. I'm the Regional Vice President of Pre-Sales at Alfresco. Alfresco is a software vendor. We develop and sell software solutions all across the globe.
Yes.
And we let our customers, or we help our customers in managing the most important piece of information, which is their data. So we help organizations in managing their content and managing their data. Talking about myself, I always say that my first name, Arsalan, has roots in Turkish language. My last name, Minhas, has an Indian origin. Okay. However, I was neither born in Turkey nor in India.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I was born and raised in Pakistan. I started my career working for a Silicon Valley-based company. I did my master's from Hamburg in Germany, and now settled in Munich in Germany, the city of Oktoberfest, for the last 16 odd years. So I define my identity pretty much in international identity. Coming from Asia and then finally settled here in Europe. Talking about my business, what actually I'm doing and how I started that and what actually is my core focus, I would say that for the last 20 odd years, I've been advising, consulting, and coaching the top executives of the Fortune 1000 companies to digitize their operations, to transform their business models, and help them in creating additional revenue streams. And based on the knowledge which I have gained in those last 20 years working with these Fortune 1000 companies, I'm also sharing my knowledge and gained experience with people, with peers on topics like digital transformation, how they could transform their organizations, people who would like to become great public speakers or great leaders and managing complex sales. So these are the topics where I am actively contributing my knowledge and helping people to get to the level that they would like to.
Wow. So far it hasn't always been like this. What challenges did you experience building your business?
Well, if you look at, I was born and raised in a middle-class family in Pakistan. And where I am today, it's a long journey spanning over 40 years. So, of course, there have been a lot of challenges which I have faced throughout this journey. And I believe that if I start mentioning those challenges, it will become a very, very long session. So all type of challenges that you could basically imagine, from finances to getting the opportunities to the environment and everything. So there are a lot of challenges that I've faced. So let me not go through those challenges, but Rather, I will focus on the positive aspects that if you are focused, if
Yeah.
you are persistent, you could accomplish anything or you could address any challenge. So it's all about making sure that you remain focused, avoid distractions. And if you have a plan, be persistent in executing that plan and never give up, never give up. If you take that approach, if you follow that approach, any challenge can be addressed.
Wow. Focus and persistence, irrespective of whatever challenge, is really, really key. Like, thank you so much for sharing those two key points there. So what's your daily habit? Because there's a popular quote that says the success of a man is seen in his daily habit and also in his mindset. So what mindset, what habits has helped your business personally and professionally? What mindset has built you up all the way?
That's a very good question that you are asking, and I appreciate you asking that question. Let me explain that. I mean, if you look at this glass,
Okay.
it's like 60% or almost half filled with water, right?
Yes.
There are people who would say that this glass is half full, and there's some people who would say the glass is half empty. I mean, logically or technically, both are right.
Yes.
But from a mindset perspective, it's very different.
Hmm.
And that's it. In the end, it's all about the mindset. There are two type of mindset. I mean, you've heard people talking about mindset, that they are fixed mindsets and they are growth mindsets.
Hmm.
So if I have a fixed mindset, I would be very comfortable in my comfort zone. I will never stretch that comfort zone. I will be very reluctant to change, very reluctant to adapt, and um, uh, and I will never question my status quo.
Hmm.
But if I have a growth mindset, I won't shy away from taking on new challenges,
Mm-hmm.
learning new stuff to get to the next level. If I have a growth mindset, I will also question my status quo. I will also question if I need to adapt my approach, if I have to make changes in the recipes that made me successful in the past. So, in the end, it's all about the right mindset, and you need to have the growth mindset to get to the next level. If you're happy with your life, with what you are doing, and you don't want to change, you don't want to evolve, then fixed mindset is good enough. But when it comes to accomplishing something, I'm a true believer that you need to have a growth mindset.
Wow. Yeah, like getting out of your comfort zone, it's painful, but it is worth it. Like it is worth it. So and one thing I would also say, like, what habits do you have? Like, because there are tons. Some people say, oh, they have planners, they plan their time. Oh, like, do you work out? Are you someone that takes your health serious? What kind of sports do you do? What habits do you use to build your what personal development strategies do you use in your business and your life?
So, a couple of things. When it comes to habits, first of all, I'm a firm believer that one needs to keep the right balance between work and life. Because if you, in the end, you could contribute more towards your work and business if you're healthy, both mentally and physically. And for that, you need to make sure that you have the chance to disconnect from your work and business. And for example, I play tennis, I go for hiking, I am into adventure sports, I do skydivings. So yes, it's a risky sport, but I love doing that because in the end, in life, we have to take risk, but calculated risk. And
Yes.
skydiving has taught me how to take those calculated risks.
Oh, and you also mentioned something about flying when we spoke.
Yeah, so I have a desire, I have a wish to be a pilot. I'm not able to yet accomplish it purely because of the limited time that I have because of my work. At some point, I will definitely like to accomplish it. So yeah, flying is on my bucket list. And yeah, so talking about my habits, I do adventure sports. By the way, I didn't mention about walking with the lions. So this is something I also did. Uh,
I can't. I can't. Lions. No, no.
I mean, some people, when they hear all this, they say, okay, you are taking uncalculated risks. But no, whenever I take risks, these are calculated and well thought risks. But in the end, yeah, coming back to the hobbies, going into the nature, having a walk, going for a hike is something that I love doing, because in the end, that allows me to um, look after my mental and physical health, which is very important when it comes to having the focus, which I mentioned earlier. And talking about the businesses, you also ask. I'm also a firm believer that all of us, every individual, needs to have a dream. It starts with having a vision. It starts with having a dream, because if I don't have a dream in my life, I am useless. And so it starts with a dream. And once you have a dream, then to think about, afterwards to think about what should be your strategy to get that, to make that dream a reality, to get that vision accomplished. So for example, your dream could be that you would like to make a difference in people's life. And maybe your plan is that, okay, you work and serve people as a medical doctor. Maybe I also have the same dream, but my plan would be that, okay, I want to invest in technology and innovation to serve humanity. So people could have different plans to accomplish the same vision or the same dream, but it needs to start with a dream. And sometimes I hear people saying that, Arsalan, the most important thing in the life is to have a plan. And I disagree with that, because a plan without a dream doesn't make any sense. And otherwise, Martin Luther King, I mean, he should have given a speech on, I have a plan, instead of I have a dream. So yeah, so it starts with a dream, and then of course you need to draft a strategy to make your dream a reality. And as I said, that once you have a plan, once you have your strategy, it's all about remaining focused on that execution and making sure that you are persistent in execution. And if you follow those practices, those principles, you can accomplish anything in life.
Wow, that's true. Persistence in execution, really, really key. So how did you get into sales? Yeah, how did your journey in sales, how did it start out? Was it always about sales for you?
Yes, it was a long journey. As I said, that I'm into the industry for the last 20 years, and I didn't start in sales. I was a software developer. I was a software engineer. And then over time, when I started speaking with people, I started enjoying interaction with customers. So after my master's, which I completed in Hamburg, I put myself into a consulting role, consulting customers and so on. And that gave me a lot of useful insight, a lot of useful experiences. And I then thought about, why don't I go into sales and pre-sales? So then I transformed into a pre-sales and a sales consultant. And over time, of course, then I started getting into climbing the management ladder and so on. But in the end, yeah, it has been a journey moving from a very, I would say, behind the cubicle developer role to a very front end customer facing role. But it's just like that, you try different things in life, your preferences change over time, and ultimately you start finding that, okay, this is your passion and this is what you like to do. So I think now over time I found what actually I like doing and what is my passion.
Sales. So explain, so what do you mean by pre-sales? For people that are hearing this for the first time, what do you mean by pre-sales?
So again, a very good question. Pre-sales work very closely with sales. The objective is the same: to make deals happen, to make businesses happen, to bring value to the customers. Sales is more focused on, I would say, on the commercial aspects, like making sure that we have the right offer in place, the right price is negotiated, the right contractual terms are agreed with the customer. But on the other hand side, pre-sales is focusing more on the functional aspects, making sure that the customer gets the right solution that meet the necessary requirements and needs. So pre-sales is the one that looks at the customer pain points and how to address those pains with a right solution, with the right product. So forming the right solution blueprint to address the customer pain points and challenges is the responsibility of the pre-sales organization. But pre-sales and sales work hand in hand to make businesses happen and to add value to the customers.
Wow, thank you so much for shedding light on that. So let's dive into the topic for today: how to adapt your sales in a post-COVID-19 world. First, when the whole COVID-19 happened, what was on your mind? Like, how did you perceive everything happening?
So I will be very open with you. I mean, I believe that I'm not the only one. All of us are experiencing this COVID-19 situation for the first time in our lives. It is
Yeah.
unprecedented, never seen before. We have no reference model, and unlike those type of events which only impact a specific region or a geo, this crisis is impacting everyone across the globe. So this is really a global crisis, and it's very first time in our lives we're experiencing it. So definitely it is also impacting sales because in my opinion, this global crisis has transformed the businesses and also the operational models of businesses. And during COVID-19 and post-COVID-19, sales need to adapt to work in a new business ecosystem. Because if we don't adapt, if we don't learn, we will cease to exist. We will really diminish. And in order to avoid that from happening, we need to make sure that we adapt our approach and we learn we learn what we need to do to make sure that we not only survive, but make the most of the opportunity which has been created by COVID-19.
So because I know there are different kinds of businesses. We have the small business owners, we have service providers, we have agencies. There are tons of businesses. So how would you say they can adapt their sales in post-COVID-19 world?
Yeah. So by the way, before I ask this specific question regarding COVID-19, I would like to mention that these days you find every second article, every second blog, every second news item in a newspaper mentioning about this, that this is what you need to do because or post COVID-19. So the people have made it a hype, a buzzword, and everyone is giving, sharing his knowledge and insights and tips on COVID-19. And to be honest, if you really dig into the details, many of those tips, many of these suggestions were even valid before COVID-19.
Yeah.
If you ask me personally, there are few things which we have to do irrespective whether COVID-19 exists or not, whether you do virtual sales or in-person sales. So those are the things that sometimes the sales are missing, which I call as common sense mistakes that they do. So those common sense mistakes need to be avoided irrespective of the situation. So first of all, I want to mention this. And secondly, then when it comes to COVID-19, definitely there are a few things which businesses can do. Mm-hmm. And again, if I start mentioning all the things, it will become a very long session. So I was just going to focus on 3 simple tips. Mm-hmm. So if you ask me, what are those 3 simple tips? They are, number 1, that an organization or a company, doesn't matter if it's a small business owner or a big enterprise.
Enterprise, yes.
They have to double down their efforts on virtual sales. That is very important because if you look at now, right now I'm speaking with you. I'm in home office right now. All of us are confined to work from home.
Yes.
And they are people who have never done this. So they don't know how to develop relationships on a virtual channel like this. What are the do's and don'ts of online meetings? How they can negotiate convincingly using a Zoom call, or how to do social selling, or what are the I would say the best practices of one-to-one marketing. So we need to coach our sales people, we need to coach our pre-sales people to get better in virtual sales. No doubt about it. Also, in connection to that, let's see the pattern in the last 3-4 months. Customers are buying more through self-service options where you can go to a website, order a product or a service,
Yeah.
which gets easily provisioned to them. E-commerce solution, they are getting more and more popular. So if the companies are not offering any e-commerce options or self-service products and solutions, they are missing a big opportunity. So companies need to invest in virtual sales, both from a perspective of offering the products online, but also in terms of coaching their people to get better in selling virtually. That's my tip number one.
Virtual sales. Yes.
Double down effort on virtual sales. Exactly.
Yes.
And the second tip is what I would call as um, farming. I mean, if you know the two sales models, one is farming and one is hunting.
Yeah.
Farming is likely to pay more post COVID-19, because the thing is that we all hunt for new logos, we all hunt for new customers.
Yes.
But when you can't meet people in person, it becomes a bit difficult to develop relationships and hunt for new logos. But if you already have a customer with whom you have a relationship, it's easy to invest and build on that relationship, identify additional use cases for upsell and cross-sell. So farming becomes even more important in post-COVID-19 days, and something which I definitely suggest companies or people to look into seriously. And the third tip is the inside sales model. I mean, we know that small companies or big organizations have people who are doing telesales, trying to sell on telephone or online.
Yes.
Inside sales model becomes much more important post COVID-19, because inside sales rep has the knowledge about how customers are buying products, how the customer's journey look like during the entire process and during the entire customer journey. So this inside sales rep is much better equipped to have a conversation with a prospect and even close a deal much quickly and cost effectively than people who do that face to face. So I also suggest companies to start focusing more on inside sales post COVID-19. So a lot can be said, but these are the three simple tips which I definitely suggest companies to focus on.
So let's go through them again. The three tips you mentioned: virtual sales, right?
Double down the effort on virtual sales. Exactly. Tip number one.
And then tip number two.
Tip number two is hunting is important, but farming will be far more important and likely to pay more post COVID-19. So invest in farming.
So that's like your, how do I put it, connecting personally with customers.
Exactly. So farming is that I already have customers, I already have the relationships with them. Try to identify additional use cases where I can sell them new products, where I can sell them new services, but with the existing install base where I already have the relationship, because that will be easier thing to do than hunting for new logos naturally post COVID-19.
Yes, that's like your AOV, your back-end sales. Yes, that's really, really important. And then the third one.
The third tip is that focus on inside sales, because inside sales, again, because of the knowledge that they have and they know how to do sales using a telephone, using, using their computer or devices, they are also going to be much more effective in sales than, I would say, than those people who do those face-to-face sales.
That's on phone, right? Ability to close on phone.
Exactly. That is inside sales. So that is also going to be the key investment from my perspective the companies need to take into consideration.
Yes, I see a lot of people doing that. Wow. So that's the next thing for the post COVID-19 world. So
Exactly. Having said that, as I already mentioned, that it doesn't mean that one should stop doing those common sense things which we need to do in sales. Those things are important, irrespective whether you are doing virtual sales or in-person sales.
Mm, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mr. Arsalan. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast episode and sharing 3 important tips on how to adapt your sales for the post-COVID-19 world. So double down on your virtual sales. If you've been selling, if you've been doing business physically face to face, it's time to switch online and double down online. And then he mentioned the farming and the hunting strategies. The hunting strategies is you're trying to get new people into your business. The farming strategy is you're trying to provide more value to people that have worked with your business in the past, people that have paid you in the past. So ideally, you want to look at creating more products, creating more services, building your value ladder. And by doing that, you're increasing your AOV, the average order value of your customer, which is also super important. So it's not just enough to get new customers, you also want them to buy more, to spend more in your business. And then the third strategy you mentioned is closing on the phone. The ability to close is a skill that you need to have in this season, especially if you're selling high ticket products, right?
Absolutely. And again, I mean, today we have not discussed it, but I always talk about one technique, which is I call as power messaging. And power messaging is all about how can I make my conversation more compelling, more powerful, whether I'm speaking someone on phone, whether I'm speaking someone through a Zoom call like this, or whether I'm in person. How can I become more powerful and compelling in my conversation? And this technique is important for every salesperson, but especially for inside salesperson, especially for a person who is speaking on phone. This technique is very important.
Hmm. Ability to craft powerful messaging, irrespective of where you're communicating with the customers on, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arsalan. I really enjoyed this session. You really shared a lot. Thank you so much. So any other thing you would like to share that would help people to adapt their sales in a post-COVID-19 world?
I mean, the only message which I want to give is that we all need to make sure that we stick to the basics, which means that let's not get blown away with all the things that we are hearing in terms of everything is going to be changed post COVID-19. No, few things are going to change. We have to adapt, but most of the things that we need to do were known anyways to us. And it's all about sticking to the basics and making sure that we do our stuff properly without getting into a panic mode. And as I already said in the beginning, that I am sharing my experiences, which I have gained in the last 20 years with people, especially who want to manage complex sales, people who would like to become successful leaders, and anyone who would like to discuss best practices, benefit from my experiences. They are more than welcome to approach, and we are more than happy to guide or assist to that individual or to that organization.
Yes, definitely. I'm gonna put all your bio and your description and all your links to the description of this episode, wherever you're listening to this or you're watching this. In the description box, you're gonna see the links to reach out to his company. to do business with them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arsalan. I thank you so much for joining on this episode. I really appreciate it.
Same here. Thank you for inviting. Thank you for your time. Have a great day ahead and all the best.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Cheers. Bye.